What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. It's the second day of Taiwan's nationwide Hangguang military exercise. As Rick Lau reports, a major component of this year's drills is protecting the country's critical infrastructure.
Here on the coast of southern Taiwan, the country's military and police are practicing how they would defend a major liquid natural gas terminal. It's part of that national Hangguang exercises, nationwide drills that practice the country's response to an attack by China. This year's focus, protecting and preserving key infrastructure.
在每一次的预演，也让我们协同作战更加纯熟。相信未来有一天状况发生，我们一定能够以最快速、最有效的协同合作，展现全民总力运用的连战效能。
Taiwanese live under constant threat of invasion from neighbouring China, which says Taiwan is part of its territory and has not ruled out taking it by force. This year, the Hangguang exercises have taken on extra significance. Beijing has recently increased what is known as its grey zone warfare against the island nation, cyber attacks, misinformation, and sending military boats and planes around Taiwan. Taiwan has also been watching Russia's invasion of Ukraine, finding parallels in a country fighting off a much larger foe. Russia's targeting of Ukrainian infrastructure, such as power plants, has made Taiwan rethink its defence strategies. With Taiwan importing most of its fuel for electricity production, that's been highlighted as a potential defence weak spot. The exercises this week are a stress test of Taiwan's ability to defend itself under pressure. And keeping the country running by protecting infrastructure like this will be crucial in the event of a war. Justin Wu, Sam Hui and Rick Lowett in Kaohsiung for TaiwanPlus.
Now, this year's Hangguang exercises are set to be the most comprehensive in the country's history. But what's actually different this year? Well, to find out, our reporter Jaime Okan spoke to Raymond Guo, a security analyst with the RAND Corporation.
Are there any major differences in this year's Hangguang exercises compared to the years before?
I think the fact that they're using civilian airports is a pretty big deal. It demonstrates, first off, politically, that Taiwan is taking this more seriously, right? If you're only focusing on the military and you kind of isolate the preparations for the military, it doesn't really have much an effect on the general population. It also means, therefore, that the general population isn't as engaged in, say, civil defense and preparation. I think also the fact that they're calling up the reservists, again, the same sort of kind of political or foreign policy signal that it's not just the elites or the political leaders, but the general public that's going to have to take part and prepare themselves for Taiwanese defense. So right off the bat, I think that's a big shift right there.
There's been debate over what kind of defensive strategy Taiwan needs, whether it be an asymmetric strategy with more mobile systems or a traditional defense strategy with things like tanks and fighter jets. But what do you think? What do you think Taiwan should pursue in its defensive strategy?
Taiwan needs to do both things, right? It's not just that on the asymmetric side, sure, having all the many small things are really important, as we've seen in Ukraine, for a small force to defeat a conventional invasion. But these sorts of sovereignty challenges, median line crossings, maritime coercion, where you need the symmetric forces of fighter jets or large naval vessels. So unfortunately, Taiwan needs to do both there. And if it's going to concentrate on one, if it's going to focus on the invasion, for example, then it needs to find some way to offset Chinese advantages in the other sort of gray zone symmetric area.
Another thing that Taiwan is focusing on in this year's exercises is air defense. Why is the Defense Ministry emphasizing this, and what is the importance of that?
Well, I mean, air superiority, or at least denying the enemy air superiority, is extremely important to not just the direct military conflict side, but also on the logistics side. Taiwan has to rely upon shipping. And one of the easiest ways for Chinese forces to disrupt that is the use of its rocket forces or its air force. They have the range, they have the speed, they have the capability. So the more that Taiwan is able to deny air superiority to the Chinese forces, the easier it is not just for the military fight, but also for the logistics fight.
That was Raymond Guo from the RAND Corporation speaking to our reporter Jaime Okan. All 9 soldiers injured in an accidental explosion in northern Taiwan on Monday are now in stable condition. That's according to a statement by the Defense Ministry. Out of the 9, 2 were seriously injured. One had arrived at hospital without vital signs, but he was successfully revived. Another suffered severe burns and damage to his left arm. Once stabilized, both were moved to Taipei hospitals for further treatment. On Tuesday, Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen visited the soldiers. The accident happened on Monday afternoon outside the port city of Keelung when a mortar round exploded during inspections. They're still investigating what caused the blast. The ministry has yet to say whether it was related to this week's military exercises. The U.S. says North Korea's recent missile launch is a threat to the international community. Here's Washington's statement.
We certainly condemn the DPRK's ballistic missile launches. These launches are in violation of multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions and pose a threat to the DPRK's neighbors and the international community. We remain committed to a diplomatic approach to the DPRK and call on the DPRK to engage in dialogue.
North Korea test fired 2 ballistic missiles late on Monday, just hours after a U.S. nuclear-capable submarine docked in South Korea. It's the second U.S. nuclear sub to stop in the country in recent days, after another submarine made the first visit in 40 years. North Korea has fired over 30 missiles this year so far. A delivery driver has been arrested for allegedly threatening a lawmaker from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. The driver, surnamed Kuang, was brought in for questioning by police in the northern city of New Taipei. He'd posted an ad on a delivery platform looking for someone to empty a clip at the office of DPP legislator Ling Su-fen. Kuang says he had only been joking, but police are now investigating him on suspicion of endangering public safety. Ling says this is not the first time she or her colleagues have been threatened.
这个恐吓的意味颇浓啦哈。老实说，一路走来，我们的问政当然得罪了非常非常多的利益团体。也有人时常告诉我说，哎，人家哈报仇哈3年不晚，所以你自己的人身安全要顾虑一下。
Taiwan is preparing for Typhoon Doksuri. Sea warnings for the storm have already been issued, with land warnings expected shortly. Doksuri is not forecast to pass directly over Taiwan, but its outer edge could make landfall in the country's south, causing strong winds and heavy rainfall. Cities and counties are now preparing for the oncoming typhoon, including suspending some flights. In the past, Taiwan faced frequent seasonal typhoons, but none have reached its shores in more than 3 years, leading to severe droughts here. Taiwan is a haven for hundreds of species of birds, including 29 found nowhere else on Earth. But the growth of invasive bird life has ecologists concerned. Stash Butler reports.
This is a light-vented bulbul, and along with the warbling white-eye and Eurasian tree sparrow, they're the most common birds in Taiwan cities. But they're facing more and more competition from invasive species like this, the common myna.
它们食物可以适应的种类或许比较弹性比较大。所以你可以它可以吃虫，也可以吃各式各样东西，对，然后它们又适应各种人为的一些缝隙死角，所以它们其实适应的会不错。
Stats show that from 2011 to 2021, the 3 fastest-growing bird populations were all invasive species. Numbers of white-rumped shama grew over 9,000%, followed by chestnut-tailed starlings by over 5,000%, and Asian glossy starlings by 4,400%. Birds compete for food and nesting space. Researchers don't know exactly how invasive birds, like certain mynas, are affecting native species.
它们之间会有一些竞争的作用，但是其实还是没人理解说，到底是不是八哥让麻雀变少？这其实是还需要有待去观察的。
In 2019, authorities began destroying nests of the African sacred ibis, another invasive species. They cut numbers from nearly 20,000 down to a few hundred, but that's tougher to do in Taiwan cities.
因为那个移除的方法其实没有找到的话，我们再着急投入再多经费，其实老实说，那都很像那个石头丢到水里，扑通有一些涟漪，但是我们没有解决问题。
Taiwan's government has banned people from bringing starlings into the country, but so far it's powerless to stop existing populations in the city from breeding. Researchers just have to hope the boom in non-native birds doesn't come at the cost of local wildlife. Kuang with Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
It's not just birds. Taiwan is home to one of the world's most diverse populations of fireflies, but they are in danger. Our reporter James Chater took a trip into the darkness to see for himself.
In the dark, a flicker of light from a marvel of Taiwan's natural world. This soft green flash is being emitted from one of Taiwan's 65 species of fireflies, but they're under threat.
随着我们的环境的一个改变，都市化、科技化之后，变成是我们现在比较不容易发现这样的萤火虫。
There are around 2,000 species of firefly in the world. The 65 that live in Taiwan make it one of the countries with the richest diversity of firefly in the world. Taiwan trails only Jamaica and Costa Rica. But Taiwan also has one of the densest human populations on Earth. At night, that generates a lot of light, which can disrupt fireflies' natural behaviors.
那这种微光呢，没有办法跟我们人类所制造出来的电灯啊、灯泡这些相比，好，所以他们会发现自己没有办法去在这个环境里面，得到这个配对的机会，所以它自然而然就不会在这个环境出现，这是一个对他来讲是光害的问题。
Workers at Tocheng Leisure Farm on Taiwan's northeast coast are trying to help. The farm provides sustainability tours showcasing Taiwan's plants, natural produce and landscapes. But they've also set up protected areas for the fireflies and lead educational nighttime walks for visitors.
所以我们在这个环境的部分会重视到让整个森林的环境啊，能够尽量走自己的自然的一个循环。自然的循环，我们尽量减少人为的过度干扰。好，那这样子环境就会给给萤火虫一个很天然的家，那自然而然它就可以在这边永续的生存。
Fireflies are now a treasured part of Taiwan's ecosystem, and people at Tocheng Leisure Farm are doing all they can to ensure these lights will keep shining. Ethan Pan, Damon Lin, and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
Officials in the southern city of Kaohsiung have fined a temple for air pollution and litter over a parade it had organized. That procession had made its way along the streets of Kaohsiung's Zuoying district. Participants set off a large number of firecrackers, which caused a thick blanket of smoke to cover the area. Nearby residents complained about the smoke and trash left over from the discarded firecrackers. The city handed out nearly 30 fines for violating local environmental laws. Temple officials have apologized for the mess and pledged to help clean it up. Now, every summer, people in Taiwan lay out offerings for Ghost Month. That's the 7th month on the lunar calendar. Now, a 300-year-old temple in Taiwan's southern city of Chiayi is giving an ancient tradition a modern twist. Kuang takes a look.
A tale of life, loss, and celebration. This is Wish, a short film made by creatives from Taiwan's southern city of Chiayi. Wish uses slick presentation and religious imagery to explore Taiwanese folk traditions and to raise awareness about the place some of the story is set, Chiayi's 300-year-old city god temple.
年轻的创意，然后把这个故事借由艺术文化把它串联起来，真的再是感动。
The film has been released as the temple prepares to host its annual Zhongyuan Festival event in the middle of Ghost Month, the 7th month of the lunar calendar. This year, it falls at the end of August. It's a time when spirits are said to walk the earth. Around the country, offerings are laid out for wandering souls who died without a family. Though this may sound somber, the festival in Chiayi comes with a lighter, more modern twist. There will be live music performances at the temple this year. And there's even a famous name on the set list, Zheng Keelung, who plays songs inspired by local folklore with elements of traditional Chinese music, will play a number of shows during the festival. Temple organizers hope the event, and the short film that goes with it, will bring more people to the area and help revitalize interest in its historic temple among young people especially. Justin Wu and Yijing Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Japan has long been a top destination for Taiwanese tourists, and in the second quarter of this year, they ranked as the highest spending visitors to the country. Between April and June, tourists from Taiwan spent a total of $1.2 billion in Japan. I may have contributed to that amount. That put them ahead of visitors from the US, China, and South Korea. Taiwanese people visiting Japan often buy Japanese brands of cosmetics and small electric appliances. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we leave you with images of the world's largest hot air balloon gathering in France. I'm Eric Gao. Take care and see you next time.